Thank you for tuning into our seller interview series. Up today, we've got a 2-site dropshipping business package for sale in the apparel and accessories niche. Created in November of 2016, this business makes $25,592 per month in net profit, and the listing number for the business is 44373. We do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the businesses they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller with us today to go through the business and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. How are you doing today, Chris?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I am glad that we were finally able to connect today.
Yeah, me too.
So before we dive into the questions that I have for you, I want to go ahead and run through a little quick summary of the business. Again, the business was built in November of 2016, has a monthly revenue of $205,143, expenses of $179,551 to make for a net profit of $25,592, which is generated on a 12-month average. Included in the sale of this business are domains and site content and files, all social media accounts, Shopify accounts, branding and logos, email list, all advertising information and data, supplier contacts, and all SOPs. Chris, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, I originally started when I was about 12 years old. My dad, he created some websites as part of he was doing a course on website design. And I built my own sort of little projects as a kid and made a good living from the ages of maybe 13 to 15 years old with advertising on my websites. But as I've got older, I got a normal job, and I was a little bit fed up with corporate life, and I always sort of had in the back of my mind that I wanted to run some websites again. So I ended up moving to a different job, but the company was struggling. So I thought this is the time, sort of come back and do what I've always wanted to do. So I've been working online now for about 3.5 years. I've done a range of different things. I've done website design, I've done e-commerce, I've done some news websites. I also had a friend who was working in e-commerce, and I saw how successful his business was, and I thought, this is something that I'd love to do. And that's sort of how I ended up getting interested in e-commerce and doing it today.
And how did you come up with the idea to start this specific business?
So when I met up with my friend, I saw his earnings and I thought, for the traffic that I get with my existing businesses, if I was selling products, I would make so much money. So we actually agreed to do a bit of a joint project, which was within the men's fashion niche. But unfortunately, it wasn't successful. But I was always watching for sort of sites that were successful. And I was aware of the free plus shipping sort of method that people were using. And I saw some sites doing some things, and I thought, I could actually do this with men's apparel and do a really good job and create a brand around it. And I gave it a shot and launched it was Black Friday of 2016, and the whole business took off. And sort of we've carried on from there ever since.
And when you say it took off, how long did it really take for this business to start making money?
This was probably I launched the website on Shopify on, let's say, I think it was probably a Tuesday. And it was very last minute because I wanted to get it done for Black Friday, just by chance how the timing landed. And I think I went out for a meal, leaving the ads running on the Thursday evening. And I was a little bit worried because for me, at that time, spending maybe £50 and not knowing if I'd get a return was a little bit risky. And I came back and I saw that I was, I think I was doubling the money at the time, or even more than that. And I thought, this is unbelievable. So within the space of probably the Tuesday to the Thursday, it started to make money. And then Black Friday came and Cyber Monday and the whole Christmas period, and it just went from there.
With the two businesses within the package here, are they both pretty even in terms of bringing in revenue, or is it a little split and one brings in a lot and the other brings in a little?
So it's changed a little bit from when we started because I'm from the UK. I launched it focusing on the UK market, and we were focused on a .co.uk domain and pound sterling currency. But this actually limited the sales to just one country. So after, I think it was around 3 months, I switched the site around so that the main focus was on a .com domain. So that gets most of the earnings with it being focused now on a worldwide market. So, we focus on a lot of US traffic, but we get sales from across the world. So the main .com business itself generates most of the money. Originally, the UK site used to be the main one, but it changed around and it's the .com site, which is the busiest, but we still do a lot of sales as well through the UK.
So you mentioned that the Black Friday this last year was a big turning point for the business. How do you anticipate sales looking going into this year up until Black Friday? Do you feel like sales will be up higher than they were last year?
So we've just been through our second Black Friday because it was 2016 Black Friday that we launched. The 2017 Black Friday, that was even bigger. We hit even higher records. But actually, at the moment, this month of March, we've been doubling our biggest records in sales. So looking towards Black Friday, it could be unbelievably big, I'd hope. You've got to see how it goes at the time, but providing that we've got good products, there's no reason why not. It could be the biggest day we've ever seen.
So this is consistently going to be a seasonal business, in your opinion?
No, no, no. This is not a seasonal business because we sort of started with Black Friday and that's how we gained attraction. But throughout the year, we've continuously had sales. So it's not a seasonal business at all. Like I was saying, if you look at the sales in March as well, right now, we're having one of the busiest periods that we've ever had. So it's not seasonal.
Well, that definitely makes it a lot more appealing for a buyer. So then if you were to talk about growing the business and trying to keep up with that trend, what are you actively doing to try to grow the business?
So at the moment, what I'm spending a lot of my time doing is launching new products. But recently, we've launched a women's section. So primarily, we've been focused on men's fashion, and we've actually neglected half of the market itself. So the huge growth opportunity that we've actually just started to see now, it's something that I've not looked into previously, is also women's apparel. So that's something that the new buyer could work on, and it could potentially be a spin-off business as well if they wanted to do that. But other than that, we've just agreed to a placement with GQ magazine. So we have a good relationship with Condé Nast. So hopefully as well, if we were to create maybe a women's site that sort of splits off part of the brand, or if we just have it as a half section of the website, we can work with, we've got contacts at Vogue. So that's a great thing that we could look at doing. In addition to that, we've been contacted by Snapchat and recently Pinterest just because of the reach of a marketing that we already have on social media. We're starting to get attention from a lot of other social media websites and they want to attract our advertising spend there. So that's definitely an area for growth. The email list that we have, we've got about 1.2 million people on the email list. And to be honest with you, email marketing isn't something that I ever really focused on because I felt that I can just increase the marketing that we have existing and generate more sales and more profit. But we could basically generate a lot of free sales through email marketing, which is it's something that I'll send an email out maybe once a month. But again, with having 1.2 million emails, it's trying to find a cost-effective solution as well. So it's balancing the two. But that's for someone who specializes in email marketing, that's definitely a great area for growth.
Yeah, 1.2 million emails. That's a very, very, very large list. I know you said it wasn't your strong suit, but is there, really a reason to not utilize this list? Are these products that are suited for recurring buyers? Could you send out emails trying to get people to buy again?
Yeah, that's something that I do once a month, but I just personally myself, I find I spend a day creating the email at least and then customizing like the new products that we want to add in. And to do that on a weekly basis, it's something that doesn't really interest me. I should focus on doing it, but I don't. it's my own fault. And it's definitely something that I should look at doing. Because it's men's apparel, people will continue to buy anything within that sort of niche again and again. But it's been an avenue that we've not really bothered to approach because we continuously have sales from our existing marketing channels.
With all of that said, if you had to quantify the number of hours that you were putting in on a weekly basis, what would you estimate?
Yeah. I'd probably say around 25 hours a week. I'm quite a control freak. If I had products, I could outsource it to somebody else and have the team do it, but I'd rather personally do a lot of these things, manage the advertising myself, manage any sort of escalated customer queries and things like that. Just because I like to be involved in the business, and it's a sort of my baby that I created from the start, and I sometimes don't trust other people to do these things.
Yeah, and that's totally fair, but a good point to make, and you already said this, but a good point for a new buyer could be that if you look at this and don't think that you have the time to put in 20, 25 hours a week, but you like the business, you can definitely hire a virtual assistant or somebody else to handle a lot of the marketing and everything else going on with the business.
Yeah, like most of the tasks, they break down to email marketing is something that the new buyer should probably look at doing, like we discussed. The advertising, launching new products, overviewing staff, and any escalated cases. But those are the core tasks, which obviously you can get someone to do any of those things. If you put a manager in place, they could do that, no problem.
We've already spoken a little bit about the future opportunities for growth that a new owner for this business could take advantage of. Are there any more that we haven't mentioned yet that you want to touch on?
Yeah, so something that we've not really done before, which probably would work within the niche itself, is influencer marketing. So we could be on Instagram, we get a lot of influencers who send us messages or email us, and they ask for a product or maybe payment in exchange of a feature on their Instagram. That's something that we've not done before, just because, again, it's time consuming, and compared to just spending on advertising, it's more complicated to do. So if we were to increase our budgets on, let's say, Facebook marketing or Instagram marketing, it might take me 10 minutes, but for me to deal with an influencer and send a product out and just to generate maybe a few $100s in sales, it's not worthwhile time-wise, but it's something that's not been done at all. SEO is something that we don't do at all. There's some organic rankings for some good keyword terms, but if someone's got a background in that, that could definitely work. I'm trying to think of any other opportunities. We've been approached by Pinterest this week, and they want to work with us with a social media marketing. So that's another platform that we just haven't ever used before. So it could be an avenue to test out and try. We've also been approached by Snapchat. We've tested the ads with Snapchat, and it's 50-50 whether it's worthwhile, because it gets interest, but it doesn't convert that well. But, it's still something we've got contacts at Snapchat that we can work with to test new things and grow a marketing on that side. But that's about it for the opportunities, as well as the previous mentions with the women's apparel and testing new products.
Do you feel like there is potential international interest if you expand beyond the UK and the US?
Yeah, so currently we do market to worldwide audiences, and we've found certain countries have also been successful, but mostly it's been an approach where we've done the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. So there are other countries that you could look at targeting a little bit more, and we generally do overall worldwide targeting. So that has been done a little bit, but it could still be grown further.
Do you feel like there are any potential risks with this business that a potential buyer should be aware of?
Yeah. So the problem with the business itself is that we do rely on Facebook and Instagram marketing. So if the costs of Facebook advertising go up or Instagram go up, that does take part of the margin away. So the new owner has got to be constantly testing new products. That's sort of the nature of the business with most e-commerce businesses that generate the sales through Facebook. The other thing would be that winning products, they do get saturated eventually. Competitors come along and try and sell the same thing sometimes. But as long as someone is constantly refreshing products, you tend to see a refreshed interest in the brand and products. But yeah, it's just that the marketing channels are a little bit concentrated. Instagram and Facebook, that's the main risk.
When talking about the designing of future products, you say a big opportunity would be to try out new products. Do you design the products yourself?
No, at the moment, a lot of the products, they're already pre-designed by factories in China. We do have good relationships with most of our suppliers. So if we do want anything customizing with branding, different designs, it can be done. But at the moment, it's something that probably wouldn't generate an extra margin for us. But it could be a different sort of spin someone could put on the brand, and they could probably charge higher margins for products that have got interesting design tweaks, branding, and maybe higher quality aspects to them. So it's something to look at for sure.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Obviously, it's a drop shipping business, so you're outsourcing these products from a supplier, but
Yeah,
perhaps adding branding and other little customizations could be something that customers would be interested in.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Would you commit to a non-compete?
Yeah, of course. I understand if somebody else is going to take this business, they don't want me to compete with them as well. So that's not a problem.
How much support are you willing to offer a buyer during the transition period?
Pretty much as the buyer needs. I've put down on the listing the 30 days, but if someone wants to give me a call every week for as long as they need, I'm more than happy to help and make sure the business succeeds and does well long term.
Is there a large learning curve if someone is unfamiliar with the specific niche?
I wouldn't say there's a learning curve any different to other existing e-commerce businesses. There could be a few days worth of training, but the upside is that most of the tasks are managed through the team. So on a day-to-day basis, they manage most things. It would just be learning about advertising and learning about new products, maybe a little bit about men's apparel and women's apparel, but apart from that, it's fairly basic.
Are you open to discussing something like an earnout?
Yeah, I'd definitely consider it.
Awesome. Chris, thank you so much. I do have one final question for you, but before we get to that, I want to go ahead and run through that quick summary of the business again.
Okay.
The business was built in November of 2016, has a monthly revenue of $205,143, expenses of $179,551 to make for a net profit of $25,592, which is generated on a 12-month average. Included in the sale of this business are domains and site content and files, all social media accounts, which include Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, Shopify accounts, branding and logo, email list, all advertising information and data, supplier contacts, and all SOPs. One thing worth noting is the email list has over 1.2 million subscribers on that list, which is let's be honest, that is a massive list.
It is huge. It's to the point that we couldn't export it from Shopify when we were trying to get the numbers together. So it's very large.
So with all of that said, Chris, can you kind of recap everything and in your own words, give me your best 30-second pitch on why this is a business worth buying?
Okay. Yeah, so the business has a proven track record. It's been running for nearly 1.5 years. If you look at the sales currently, the numbers that we're going to release for March, we're thriving with there's new areas of the business that we're looking at exploring, such as women's apparel and also new men's products. The brand itself is well recognized, and the advertising has reached more than 120 million people across the world. So if you do market new products, people recognize the name. On top of that, you've got a 1.2 million person email list, which has barely been marketed to, and an existing team of staff, which are pretty good at what they do.
Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to be on with me today.
No problem.
If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. And if you want more information, the link will be below the video that will take you to this marketplace listing. If you're watching this on the listing site and want more information, become a depositor today. When you make the deposit, one of our business advisors will be in contact with you, and you will be given everything you need to review this business. Have a great day.